Right now, somewhere in your kitchen, there is a food sitting in your refrigerator that you plan to reheat tomorrow. You think it is safe. You think you are being smart. You are saving money. You are not wasting food. You are doing what every responsible adult does. But here's what nobody told you. The moment you press that microwave button for the second time, something begins to happen inside that food. A chemical reaction most people will never learn about in their entire lifetime. A reaction that quietly produces one of the most studied cancer-causing compounds in modern medical science. And the cancer this reaction has been directly linked to in published research is not a cancer that gives you warnings. It is not a cancer you catch early. It is a cancer with a 5-year survival rate of only 12%. 12 out of 100 people. That is what you are looking at once it shows up. And the worst part? You are likely doing this not once, not twice, but every single week of your life. Some of you have been doing it for 20 years, 30 years, 40 years, building up exposure meal by meal, leftover by leftover, never once suspecting that the habit you picked up from your mother, the habit your whole family practices, is slowly creating the exact chemical conditions inside your body that cancer researchers have been warning about for decades. I am Dr. Li Wei, and in the next few minutes, I am going to tell you the names of the 4 foods you must never reheat the wrong way. I am going to walk you through exactly what happens inside each one of them the second time heat hits them. And I am going to show you the direct line the research has drawn between these foods and pancreatic cancer, one of the deadliest cancers a human being can be diagnosed with. If you cook at home, if you pack lunch for work, if you meal prep on Sundays, you need to hear this all the way through. Because what I am about to share is not in most health articles, it is not in most cooking shows, and it is almost never mentioned by the people selling you the microwave, the Tupperware, or the cooking oil. Stay with me. Before I name the 4 foods, I need you to understand something about your pancreas. Because without this, the rest of this video will sound dramatic instead of sounding like the biology it really is. Your pancreas is silent. That is the single most dangerous thing about it. It does not hurt when it is being damaged. It does not swell up and give you a clear sign. It does not send pain to your stomach or your back the way other organs do when something is wrong. It sits quietly behind your stomach, and it works, and it keeps working, even when cells inside it are starting to change, even when those changes are moving in the direction of cancer. By the time most patients notice the first real symptom, the unexplained weight loss, the yellow tint in the eyes, the dull pain in the middle of the back that will not go away, the disease has usually been developing for years, sometimes a decade or more. And once pancreatic cancer announces itself, the window to treat it is often already closed. The 5-year survival rate sits at around 12%. That is not a number I use to scare you. That is the number from cancer registries around the world. So here is the truth. With pancreatic cancer, prevention is not one good strategy among many. Prevention is the only strategy that works reliably. And prevention starts with the food you put in your mouth every single day, starting this afternoon. Which brings us to the actual chemistry. When food is cooked the first time, natural chemical reactions take place. Proteins bond with sugars, fats interact with oxygen, nitrogen compounds react with amino acids. Most of the time, the first round of cooking produces compounds in amounts your body can handle, process, and clear out. That is why occasional home-cooked food is not a health emergency. But the second time heat touches that same food, the rules change. 3 things happen at once. First, the natural antioxidants that were inside the food are mostly gone now. The protective compounds that softened the impact of the first cooking have been destroyed or reduced. Second, the same chemical reactions that produce small amounts of harmful compounds the first time start running again, but now without any protection. Third, while the food was sitting in your fridge, bacteria and enzymes were quietly changing certain compounds into more reactive forms. When heat is applied again, those reactive forms get pushed forward into full carcinogens. The specific compounds cancer researchers focus on here are called N-nitroso compounds, also known as nitrosamines, and a second group called heterocyclic amines. Both of these have been officially listed by the International Agency for Research on Cancer as probable causes of cancer in humans. Multiple animal studies have shown these compounds cause cancer in organs that include the pancreas, the stomach, and the colon. This is not theory. This is not me being dramatic. This is in the peer-reviewed medical literature, and it connects directly to 4 foods you almost certainly have in your kitchen right now. Let us go. Food number 1, reheated processed meat. This is the one most people think they understand. They do not. I'm talking about hot dogs, sausage, bacon, ham, deli slices, canned meat, salami, pepperoni, any meat that has been cured, smoked, salted, or preserved using nitrates and nitrites. These foods are not like fresh meat. They already contain measurable amounts of nitrosamines before they ever leave the factory. The preservatives used to keep them shelf-stable react with the natural amines in the meat protein during processing and storage. That reaction creates nitrosamines inside the packaging before you even buy the product. Now take that already loaded food and reheat it, especially in a microwave, especially in a pan on high heat. What you are doing, chemically, is pouring fuel on a fire that was already burning. Heat speeds up the nitrosamine reaction. The higher the temperature, the longer the cooking time, the more of these compounds get produced. A strip of bacon reheated in the microwave until it crisps around the edges is not the same food it was yesterday. It has a higher load of carcinogens than it did when it came out of the original pan. Research specifically looking at dietary N-nitroso compounds and pancreatic cancer risk has found that higher intake of these compounds is linked to higher pancreatic cancer risk. Other studies have proposed several pathways connecting red and processed meat to pancreatic cancer, with nitrosamines, heterocyclic amines, and polycyclic aromatic hydrocarbons all identified as the key troublemakers. The simple rule here is this: if you are going to eat processed meats, and I understand many of you will, eat them once, fresh, prepared one time. Do not microwave leftover sausages. Do not reheat that ham from 2 days ago on high. And never, ever let these foods become a daily lunchtime habit that involves a microwave. Food number 2, spinach and leafy greens. This is the food that shocks people the most, because they are eating spinach specifically to be healthy. They put it in smoothies. They cook it as a side dish. They add it to pasta. They are trying to do the right thing. And they are. Spinach is genuinely good for you. It is packed with iron, folate, vitamin K, and natural antioxidants. Fresh spinach helps your blood pressure, supports your heart, and feeds your body things it needs. But here's where it goes wrong. Spinach is naturally rich in nitrates. In fresh spinach, these nitrates are completely safe and even beneficial. Your body actually uses them to help blood vessels relax. The problem starts the moment cooked spinach begins to cool down. While cooked spinach sits in your fridge, bacteria and enzymes already inside the leaves begin converting those safe nitrates into nitrites. This happens slowly and continuously the entire time the spinach is stored. The longer it sits, the more nitrite builds up. When you pull it out the next day and hit it with heat again, 2 things happen at the same time. The heat drives even more nitrite formation, and the heat pushes those nitrites into reactions with the amino acids in the spinach, producing nitrosamines, the same family of cancer-linked compounds we just talked about with processed meat. A study published in the journal Foods specifically warned against leaving cooked spinach at room temperature for more than 12 hours because of this exact nitrate to nitrosamine pathway. And it is not just spinach. The same thing happens with other nitrate-rich vegetables. Celery, beetroot, kale, carrots. Celery is especially concerning because it contains very high natural nitrate levels. If you make a big pot of soup or stew with celery and carrots, and you reheat that soup 3 or 4 times during the week, each round of reheating pushes the chemistry further in the wrong direction. The World Health Organization has confirmed that nitrosamines in food are established carcinogens linked to gastrointestinal and pancreatic cancers. Here is the painful irony. The vegetable you are eating because it is healthy is chemically turning into something that works against your health when you reheat it. The fix is easy. Cook spinach and leafy greens fresh. Make only what you will eat in one sitting. If you have leftover cooked spinach, eat it cold the next day. Put it in a salad. Mix it into a wrap. Cold does not drive the reaction. Heat does. Food. Number 3. Reheated cooking oils and fried foods. Most people have a vague sense that reusing oil is bad. Very few people know exactly why. When you heat cooking oil, especially vegetable oils like sunflower, corn, soybean, or canola, a process called lipid peroxidation starts. The unsaturated fats in these oils react with heat and oxygen and begin breaking down into a series of harmful compounds. The breakdown products include aldehydes, which can damage DNA directly, polycyclic aromatic hydrocarbons, also known as PAHs, which are classified as probable human carcinogens, and acrylamide, especially when the oil is touching starchy foods like potatoes. All of these compounds are genotoxic. That is the scientific word. In plain English, it means they damage the genetic material inside your cells. Now, when you reheat oil that has already been used once, or when you reheat fried food that was cooked in that oil, the damage does not reset. It continues from where it left off. Each new round of heat adds to the load. The oil's smoke point drops with each use, which means it starts breaking down at lower temperatures than before. The concentration of harmful compounds climbs with each heating cycle. The International Agency for Research on Cancer has classified several of the main compounds produced by repeatedly heated oil, including acrylamide and PAHs, as probable human carcinogens. Research looking at the formation of these compounds in cooked foods has consistently shown that the two biggest factors are temperature and cooking time. The hotter and the longer, the more of these compounds are created. Here's the part most people miss. When you reheat fried food, especially in the microwave, the heat does not spread evenly. Some spots on the food get scorched at very high temperatures. Other spots barely warm up. The scorched spots, even when you cannot visibly see browning, are producing the highest concentrations of these dangerous compounds. So what do? Do not reheat fried food. Eat fries when they are fresh. Eat fried chicken when it is hot out of the pan. If you absolutely must reheat, use an oven at a moderate temperature that warms the food evenly, and eat a smaller portion. And the cooking oil itself? Use it once. Throw it out. The money you save reusing oil is nothing compared to what you are buying in chemical exposure. Food number 4. Rice is different from the first 3. And that difference is what makes it sneaky. The danger with reheated rice is not mainly a cancer-causing chemical from the heat itself. The danger is a bacterial toxin, and this toxin has a very unusual property. It is heat resistant, meaning reheating does not destroy it. You cannot microwave it away. You cannot boil it away. Once it is in your food, it is in your food. Here's what happens. When rice is cooked, most bacteria are killed. But one particular bacterium, Bacillus cereus, produces spores that survive the boiling process. These spores sit quietly in the cooked rice. If the rice is left sitting at room temperature for too long, which happens in almost every household that cooks rice in large batches, those spores wake up. They multiply. And as they multiply, they produce toxins. When you finally reheat the rice, the heat does kill the active bacteria. That much is true. But the toxins they already produced are heat stable. They do not break down under microwave heat. They do not break down on the stovetop. The bacteria are gone, the toxins remain, and you eat them. In the short term, these toxins cause nausea, vomiting, stomach cramps, and diarrhea within a few hours. Unpleasant, sometimes severe, but usually survivable. The long-term concern is different and rarely discussed. Repeated low-level exposure to these bacterial toxins week after week, year after year, contributes to chronic inflammation of the intestines. And chronic gut inflammation is one of the most well-established pathways to gastrointestinal cancers in the entire cancer research field. Every time your intestinal lining is irritated by these toxins, it leaves microscopic damage behind. decades of weekly rice reheating adds up to decades of low-level inflammatory damage. That is the setting in which cancer cells find room to grow. The rules for rice are simple and specific. After cooking, cool it fast. Within 1 hour. Put it in the refrigerator. Do not leave it on the counter while you watch a movie. Store it for no more than 24 hours. Reheat it only once. Make sure it reaches steaming hot throughout, not just warm in the middle, and never reheat rice a second time. If you have been making giant pots of rice on Sunday to last the whole week, change that habit starting today. Cook smaller amounts, more often. Let me give you the summary so you leave this video with something clear and practical instead of just anxious. 4 foods, 4 different mechanisms, 1 shared principle. Reheated processed meats load your body with nitrosamines. Compounds research has specifically connected to pancreatic cancer. Reheated spinach and leafy greens convert their own natural nitrates into nitrites and then into nitrosamines through a heat-driven reaction that happens in your refrigerator and finishes in your microwave. Reheated cooking oils and fried foods build up aldehydes, polycyclic aromatic hydrocarbons, and acrylamide, all of which damage DNA directly and pile up with every round of heating. Reheated rice delivers heat-stable bacterial toxins that survive the microwave and quietly inflame your gut lining over years of repetition. You do not have to throw out your microwave. You do not have to give up your favorite foods. You need to make 4 specific changes. Never reheat processed meats on high heat. Cook them once and eat them fresh. Eat leftover cooked spinach and leafy greens cold the next day, not reheated. Do not reuse cooking oil. Do not reheat fried foods at high temperatures. Cool rice within 1 hour. Refrigerate it. Reheat it only once. And never reheat it a second time. 4 changes. Applied consistently, week after week. That is what meaningfully lowers your exposure to the compounds connected to some of the deadliest cancers in medicine. Tell me in the comments which of these 4 foods surprised you the most, because the answer people give me on this question almost always reveals where the biggest gap in public health education is hiding. And your answers shape the videos I make next. If something in this video is going to change how you cook this week, share it with one person. Not for me. For the family member who eats reheated sausage every morning and has never thought about what they are putting into their body. That share might be the most useful thing you do for their health today. Subscribe if you want more honest conversations about what the research actually says about the food choices that matter most. One final note. Everything I have shared here is based on published biochemistry, food science research, and the documented findings of international cancer research organizations. This is education, not personal medical advice. Cancer is complicated, and your individual risk depends on many factors I do not know about you. If you have concerns about your diet or your cancer risk, please talk to your own doctor, the one who knows your history. I am Dr. Lee Wei. Protect your health with the information your kitchen never came with. I will see you in the next one.